Welcome back to the Bouncer Ball. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, give us a follow and a 5-star review and share it on your socials. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and like all our videos. How are we, lads?
Good.
Kind of dull right now because it's international break.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's boring, isn't it?
Yep.
I suppose the only saving grace is that it's given us an opportunity to reflect.
Absolutely.
Yes, it has.
And unfortunately for some of us, it's a lot of pride swallowing, I think.
Yep, this guy.
Ooh, tell us what you think. Okay.
I don't think anyone's really been proven right just yet or wrong, to be honest. Except with who was going to get fired first.
Okay, true.
Yeah, someone
that
called
part is
you.
true.
I don't remember who called Thomas. I'll have to go through the notes and check it out. But someone did say Thomas is likely to go first. Yep.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't me.
No, it wasn't me. I know it wasn't me. I had Mikel. It wasn't me. But I will gloat on one thing, that someone realized Graham Potter's brilliance. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint, you know?
Oh, nice.
Well, yes, if anyone will eat crow today, it'll be me. Graham Potter had done an amazing job with Brighton, and obviously 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. It was enough for Chelsea to come calling. And his first game in the Champions League was not that great, but then he's had additional time to gel with the team. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets his vision across to a team with people who are kind of, developed from a different system.
Quality. It'll be
Yeah.
It will be interesting. But I suppose let us start with the team that broke a record for the number of players signed in one transfer window, eh?
Nottingham Forest.
Forest, lads, Forest. So, what are your thoughts, boys? What are your thoughts? $250 million spent. They pretty much bought an entirely new team.
Yeah, it was a very interesting strategy. Rarely do you get a championship team that what does it do? They loan players just to get out of the championship, and then they buy new players when they get into the Premier League. It's a very, very interesting strategy, and as we can see, it's not yet paying off. So I would say 7 games in, it's a bit too early to call it, but so far, yes, it hasn't paid off.
I don't see it paying off either. They need to go in and actually. You can tell that they're not a team yet. Too many new faces. It's really hard to create so many people. I don't know. Do you guys feel that they've purchased quality, or do they just go for quantity?
I think there's some good players there. It's like what you said. It's the gelling of the team. Playing as a unit that's gonna be lacking. But there's some good players there. I have to admit, like you've got some players that can actually keep you up for the next season.
Yep. But then again, they go give Jesse Lingard a £200,000 a week, don't they?
Yeah, that's part of the good players that they have. I mean, Jesse at his best, when he's on form, he can rack up some goals that can give them some good points. And I think their team it's not a bad team. It's just they haven't played together. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it. I mean, Dean Henderson as a goalkeeper, Tao, the new striker, Taiwanese.
Taiwo.
Yeah,
Tayo
and then you got
Iwoni, yeah.
And then you got Jesse Lingard, you've got Nico Williams. There's some good players. It's just they haven't played together. So I would understand
Hmm.
why they are struggling right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Interesting.
Nottingham Forest is a very talented compilation of players, but that's almost part of the problem you have when
Yeah.
you bring in so much talent. What's your focal point? Did
Yeah.
they have time
Yeah.
to develop that? And as you brought them in during splutterings during the transfer window, did you have time to do all of that sort of stuff? I feel like
Mm.
that's like if my recollection is correct, the only other team that I know that did this since the 2000s was Fulham. Fulham had one window when they came up and they brought in an entirely different team and they lost every game because no one got the chance to gel and come together and stuff. So when I look at
Yeah.
that, I'm looking at it and I'm like, there were players that they had to bring in, right? I
Hmm.
think Ione brings you goals.
Mhm.
Henderson, top goal scorer. Nico Williams, look, he was with them in the previous season, so you can't technically call him a new addition, right? Either that or he was at Fulham, I can't remember. But he's
Fulham.
a pretty decent, yeah. Willie Bolly, experienced defender. Serge Aurier, again, experienced defender. Jack Colback, experienced midfielder. Plenty of Premier League experience there. Jesse,
Oh, they
Messi,
bought
Jesse.
Kuyate. They bought Kuyate.
Yeah,
Like
they bought Koya.
Shikawate. I know he was a free, but still, they still signed him. He's got experience in there, and
Yeah,
he would have helped settle them down. I just feel as though they've just got too many signings in, and it just hasn't gelled. Whereas
yeah.
you come in, you buy Coate, you buy Nico Williams, and just a couple of pieces and integrate them into your current setup, and they probably wouldn't look as ragged as they do towards like the final 30 minutes of a game. They
Mm.
just don't know each other well enough yet. It's unfortunate. Like when you look at their team, as you said, they look as though they have a decent a decent team on paper. It looks good on paper to me. It doesn't look too bad.
If they can survive this season in the Premier League with the same team, next season is what, like, they just need to focus on survival. If they can survive, they can
Absolutely.
turn this around, start winning games and shit. Then next season, they'll be something to keep an eye on because, like, there's a lot of talent in that team, especially some some up and comers and stuff. It's not like how like the Norwiches and Watfords were coming in like all loosey goosey. I think these guys just need to come together, guys. Don't make it too flash. Simple, ball football, and yeah, manager is probably a big part of that. If he survives past Christmas at this current rate, yeah, I'll be very surprised.
Yep.
That's a fair call, actually. That's a very fair call. Very fair call. Um, Talking about guys who are more than surviving and showing the league up, I suppose our next port of call would have to be to the great city of Manchester. Um, Mr. Erling Haaland, lads. Mr. Erling Haaland. This man is just scoring for fun at the moment, isn't he? So I suppose the question that I have for you, Erling Haaland, do you reckon the lad's taken to the league like a duck to water or what?
Age before beauty, Tawana.
Look, to be honest, I'm still gonna hold my position that I held at the start of the season. It's still too early. Um, yeah, I would wait. I would put my commentary in after January, and if he keeps these numbers up, then absolutely, uh, Haaland is a force of nature for the season, and that would be our new goal scorer. But for now, it's too early. It's too early.
I suppose the way I look at it, I sit there and I'm looking, and he's not fully integrated into this Man City team yet. Um, Erling's sitting there, he's scoring a lot of goals at the moment, and I just sit there and think that potentially there's more to come. He's not the finished article. And yeah, everyone was saying, oh, but it's not coming to a better league and, you know, better defenders across the board and like more hustle and more bustle. And he's taken well to it. Um, at the moment, you'd have to say for what did they pay £40 million for him? He's done exceptionally, or better than exceptionally well. He's scored what 11 league goals or something crazy like that in 6 or 7 games. It's ridiculous. It's a great return, and yeah, it's exciting to watch him go. I suppose is where I'm trying to get at with that one.
I My comment on Erling Haaland, having watched him at Dortmund, I felt this kid was going to be a problem with the tools around him because Manchester City is a very good team, right? I always
Yeah,
felt like he was going to perform at some level that was going to be like okay, keep an eye on this guy. What he's done, 11 goals in 7 games, I just don't see it slowing down. Like, why would it? Unless he got injured, right? And I'm not knocking on wood. I'm not God forbidding that because I need that shit. Okay, like yeah, I know you shouldn't wish anything like that on anyone, and I really don't. But at the same time, come on, like 11 goals. Yeah, nah. That's just too. Like, I can't deny the boy's talent. He's in a very strong team, didn't experience too much change in this team, and he's that's taken the pressure off and allowed him to just go out there and start performing. Um, Even that Alvarez kid who they've got as well, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Pep did a switcheroo and treated Erling like Zlatan, and then Alvarez was his Messi down the line. But for now, Haaland is going to give them goals. Whether that's going to lead them to a Champions League trophy is a different story because the wounds that always hurt City aren't the players, it's Pep trying to outsmart himself. That for me
but
is where
do
he kind
you?
of does himself in.
I suppose the one thing we all need to keep in mind is that all clubs have dips in form. There was periods there where even last season where um, KDB wasn't firing on all cylinders. Then he came back and just started ripping the league apart again towards the tail end of the season. But all clubs, all players, your form drops, and Man City starts strong, and yeah, he's scoring goals. No denial there. He's done exceptionally well, but I just feel as though everyone has their up days and their downs. And I suppose that's a perfect segue to our next topic of discussion, lads. We're going to be talking about a downturn in form, I suppose. As much as it pains me to discuss these people, we're going to have to touch on it. Is Martinez the truth?
I think he's a more organized centre back than Harry Maguire. He's quicker than Harry Maguire. I'm not going to say he's faster. I just think he's more suited to work with De Gea. He's more suited to work with Rafael Varane. And I read an article a while back where apparently Harry Maguire is blaming his teammates and especially De Gea on his drop in form. And the criticisms have come around the fact that Harry Maguire is a slower defender. He's probably not suited to the type of football they're trying to play at United. If he was playing in the City system, he probably wouldn't be as exposed because him and Ruben Neves, apparently it's a similar speed or whatever. Whereas Martinez has just come in, he's quick, he's aggressive, he's confident, and I guess being able to communicate with De Gea better, being able to communicate in Spanish, they've been blending or gelling better. So that's improved how that defense setup is also set in.
May I ask?
Yeah,
I just
I tend to I tend to agree with what you're saying because Martinez was the difference when we played them. So you're definitely on the money with when you're saying that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
okay. I just want to pose a quick question to both of you, actually. When Maguire was at Leicester, they sat deep and played counter-attacking football.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he wasn't getting exposed for pace. They weren't always necessarily always playing the ball out from the back. Do you remember that season? That's when the Vardy party was on every single week. It was
Yep.
quick balls down the channels to
Yep.
Vardy. He'd get in, do his thing. Myers would pick up the pieces, bang goals. He's scoring goals as well. So I kind of felt as though that season that Harry Maguire could just focus on defending. And then when it came to ball distribution, he didn't have to play out from the back. He's now gone to a different system that he's expected to play football. And I think that's where he's getting exposed. Um, there's all those images that we all see on the internet that we think are hilarious where De Gea decides, okay, I've got an open pass to Maguire. Nah, I'll spray it into touch it instead because that's a safe option. Like it's hilarious. But I just feel as though Harry Maguire, it's hilarious. But I just feel as though Harry Maguire was signed because he looked absolutely amazing playing for England, where he wasn't necessarily playing the ball out the back. They were just clearing the ball half the time. And Leicester, where they weren't playing out from the back as well. That's the defender you get, and then you expect him to completely change how he plays football. It's a bit harsh. I kind of feel
Yeah,
sorry for the
absolutely.
lad. I kind of feel sorry for him. Like this new coach comes in, backs him as captain, and he's going to start. He's going to play for me. And what 3 games in, he's gone, and yeah, never to be seen again. Interesting enough, like he started for England on Friday. He didn't look
Where
too
they
bad
lost.
actually.
Where they
Well,
lost.
to be fair, the ball the ball got played over the Walker's head, and Walker didn't deal with it correctly. They're playing three at the back, and Walker just couldn't deal with this ball. There's a straight ball over the top from a defender, right over the top, and the guy just ran on it. Walker was just non-existent. Um, it was Walker and Dyer's fault, not Maguire's fault. Actually, that's the channel that the ball got played through. So it's pretty hard to blame him for that. But I didn't think he looked too bad. Him and Shaw together on that left hand side looked actually pretty comfortable throughout the game. It was an interesting game actually. It wasn't too bad. My favorite player on the night, the upsides for England for me were Jude Bellingham and the young lad from, forgive me, I can never remember his name, from City. Um,
Folded.
Foden. Yeah, those two guys rocked it. And then Grealish came on and actually took on and looked pretty good during that game as well. It was a bit interesting that he seems to be a good impact player as opposed to be a starter for England. But I digress. I'm completely off topic there. I got a bit excited. Just wanted to say Jude Bellingham's name again and see you see that smile break across your face because I know you're absolutely not a big fan of the lad. Um,
Look,
so, what are your
when it
thoughts?
comes to England, I'm a bit disheartened. I just want that coach out, man. He's like, we've got with England. There's so much talent, but the coach is not. He's not dynamic in his ways. He's just he's so defensive. It hurts. You know what I mean? So
But I
I
suppose, Mike, we all say there's so much talent in England. Yes, there's talent in England, but are the
yeah.
English players all that talented? How many English players actually play and start every single week for the top teams
In the world.
across the globe?
Yeah.
Let's not just focus on the Premier League, but across the entire globe. It's not very many of them.
Yeah.
And we all say that England has got a lot of talent. Do they really? Like Declan Rice was heralded as one of the best, central, like defensive mids in the world. Is he though?
Yeah, but they should have enough talent to see Italy out. That's
Look,
my point.
I
I think they're a
disagree with
better
it.
team.
I disagree with that because Italy
I
won the
think
Euros.
they're
England didn't.
no. I'm talking about the current Italy team that we play. That I keep saying we that they played last week. That they played yesterday on Friday. Sorry, oh, that's 2 days
Look,
ago.
I
Yeah,
agree. You know that
yeah.
they actually brought on an 18-year-old guy who's just signed for Leeds, who doesn't even play for Leeds at the moment. Like he hasn't kicked the ball for Leeds yet, and that's one of the substitutes that Italy made. So you would
Yeah,
say like the depth of
exactly.
talent and age and everything else is in England's favor, but I just don't think
Absolutely.
they are as good as what we think they are.
I
I agree
think they
there.
are. It's just bad coaching. That's literally what it is.
But you get
It's
guys
English
just
like
had
bad
Capello.
coaching. It's sort of
But you
like
get
when you
guys.
Sven Goran Eriksson, Capello, top managers couldn't
no
get a job done.
no. We're talking about this era. I'm not talking about like the previous regimes. I'm talking about this era. I
Sorry,
mean,
but
like,
I
dude,
just
you've
wanted
got.
to say Sam Allardyce as well, and then you want to go.
no,
Come on, jeez,
The big
nigga.
no,
seven
no,
there,
no, no.
the big chief,
Big
wheeler
Sam.
dealer, the wheeler dealer. Like, look, I
Sorry,
mean, here's
sorry to
my
cut you off,
honest.
because
Tal.
no,
Sorry to
it's
cut you
cool.
off, man.
No, all I'm just saying is that like I feel like if we get like a good system coach in that English team, we'll be destroying teams, man. It's just this guy. He's not built for that type of coaching. He's so defensive. He's so scared, and yet he's got like Jack Grealish and all these other players that can
Foden and
come in, yeah,
Saka
and
and
change the game,
yeah,
bro. But he's
yeah.
so defensive. So it's just sad, man. I mean, let's say instead of that guy going to Chelsea, let's say he went to England, what do you think is going to happen? How
Graham Potter.
awesome would England exactly? How awesome would England look? It would look
Well, they'd actually
brilliant,
play
bro.
some attacking
Yeah,
football, wouldn't they?
exactly,
Um,
exactly. So
I don't
that's
know. As
that's
I
just
said,
my take on it. Yeah, that's just my take on it. Because there's
I
this
can.
one goal where no, it wasn't a goal where Italy was attacking and they literally opened England wide. Like it was so scary. I'm like, why isn't England doing that? There's no reason why they can't do that.
Is this after
Yeah.
they conceded and changed to back four, then got carved up completely, or was it when they were still playing the back three?
I think it was before they yeah, I think it was before the goal. Eh,
Okay,
so yeah, so I forgot which player it was, but he was in front of goal and he literally missed.
on the right hand side,
Yeah, exactly. Like he literally missed the Italian player.
Semenka or whatever it is, the guy who plays.
I think so for West Ham. I think
Yeah,
so. I
one of
think
those
The
so.
new
teams.
the
Yeah, yeah,
new fella.
Yeah,
yeah.
like
I think I
it was
know.
like
I think I
wow,
know the
why
move you're
aren't
talking about. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, why isn't England playing like this? Like the personnel
Okay.
is there.
Gianluca
What I don't understand is Nick Pope starting for England ahead of the Arsenal keeper. That
Ramsdale.
doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This guy's been like the better keeper in England for the past 12 months plus. Now,
And some might argue that that's because he's in a better team than Nick Pope was. Nick Pope was in that Newcastle team, right? And they were still coming together. Um, I think Ramsdale's a really good keeper, and he does some really swashbuckling stuff. But Nick Pope is a better goalkeeper for
I would
like that
agree with
England
that.
thing. I think Ramsdale is definitely the keeper you want if you're playing from the back and you're doing all that creative stuff. He's very charismatic keeper. I think that works. But when you've got a shaky back line there, it doesn't hurt to have like the consistency of a Nick Pope. I think he's not like he's good with the distribution and everything. And maybe Ramsdale's a better attacking keeper, but I think Nick Pope is just a very consistent. If we're likening him to anything that we were discussing before, he's your Pollard. He's your every day he'll give you a consistent performance. And then Ramsdale can be better. Like Ramsdale's probably got a higher ceiling, and you're probably going to see that in the next 18 months. But I think Nick Pope isn't somebody we should just cast to the wolves and in favor of Ramsdale just yet.
Oh, look, I'm happy that they dropped the Everton keeper.
I don't think they've dropped Pickford. Pickford is, do you know, I don't like Pickford. I dislike him. I really dislike him. But I
but he's
also
good.
recognize that the boy
Yeah,
is good. I
he
was the
is good.
biggest hate you'll find on most Everton players. I felt like they were
Yeah,
all overcooked, right? But that dude kept them in the game against us to a certain extent in that second half.
absolutely,
Oh my
absolutely.
goodness.
I can't
If
stand him. He's a bloody T Rex. He's
he
a
is,
tiny man.
he's
He's not big
very
enough.
He's a
I agree
terrible
with you.
distributor. He's a terrible
He's not a
Exactly.
great
distributor. He
I
he's
can't
not a great
distribute. Yeah,
distributor. He
yeah,
doesn't
he's
have great
terrible.
size. I also think
But
he
he's a
tends
good
to
shot
foul
stopper.
others. But he is, man.
Yeah,
Like
he's good.
like what fans like about David De Gea, it's how he's unconventional with his saving style. It's not great with distribution and all that. And I think when you
Yeah,
look at that, there's an element of that with that Pickford, right? Like he's pretty dynamic. I think when you look at it like this, England probably need that dynamism coming from the back because their back four is trash. Like they're not playing the right guys there, in my opinion. I would play Fico
absolutely.
Tomori. I would play, who else would I play? I'd play Tomori. I'd play Reese James. I'd play, who would I play at left back? I'd play a back four, and I wouldn't let Harry Maguire touch a jersey. I'd have Connor Cody on the bench. I wouldn't even have Harry Maguire on the plane, to be honest. I just don't think I don't think he's good enough at international level. I would maybe pair Fico Tomori with Eric Dyer as the centre backs, and then play Reece James as a right back, and then left back. Look, I still think Luke Shaw is overrated. I don't know who you'd put in his place. I don't want to hear about Mason Holgates and Tyrone Mingses because those guys are not up to international standard. Like Gerard is right about Tyrone Mings, left-footed centre back, but what else does he have to offer?
He's
Yeah.
English. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of Gerard, I suppose that's a perfect place for us to segue into our last topic for the day, lads.
Mm.
As our other co-host likes to say, ball don't lie. 7 games in the Premier League table. It's ugly. It's not good reading for us at the moment, I know, but we need to do
Nah.
it. The pain is real, and we just need to live with
Rip
it
the
for a
band-aid
second.
off.
Eh?
Rip it off.
Yeah.
Rip the band-aid off. Yeah.
So this is how the table's shaped up so far. Um, as you can see, clearly I was wrong about Mikel Arteta being a crap manager, not knowing what he's doing. Um, Arsenal have jagged a few lucky victories, but every team has those days. And
Yeah,
seven
yeah,
games in, it's no longer really much of a fluke. They're a decent squad, and they're doing
yeah,
extremely well.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely,
So,
man. I think Arsenal's, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Um I don't want to talk about whether you're right or wrong in terms of the end of the league because it's just the start. So let's see how it goes. But what a good start, man! What a good start from Arsenal. Only lost
hmm,
once, and yeah, they're racking up the points. And when you look at the team, they're actually even playing well. So which is pretty awesome. Which is not awesome for us, but yeah, it makes sense. It makes so much sense. It'll be interesting to see if Brighton can carry this form since their coach is gone. So that's an interesting conversation to have there. And Fulham, wow, wow, what are they doing there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sun's in the
Like,
water. North
yeah,
London, Sun's
dude,
in the
that's
water.
amazing.
Mm,
That's
mm.
amazing. So, yeah, great
um,
start for those teams, man.
it's been a brilliant start, as you said. City, we all expect them to be up there. Spurs,
Yeah,
we were calling them as dark horses at one point in time, along with Newcastle. But
yeah.
Spurs are doing extremely well. Brighton, Graham Potter was just working his magic. I won't touch on Man United. Fulham, Now, to be fair, Man United, they've come in, they lost those couple of games, and since then, with the changes that they've made to their back line, as we touched on before, and Ericsson coming into the mix there as well, dropping Ronaldo and getting the pace and the hunger up in that forward line, they look a much better team, and they're a threat. They look threatening. Um, I did read a report the other day saying that Mason Greenwood is potentially being re-registered as a Man United player.
Yeah, I did see that, but I've seen this before,
Madonna, but
and when
check.
I mentioned it on the pod the other time, you
I
guys were
shot it
like,
down. I
"Ah,
was
it
like,
was
no way.
yeah, it was
I
fake news."
100% I shot
So
it down. I
that's why
shot
I
it down. I
didn't
was like,
like.
this
That's why I
100%. I
didn't.
shot that down. I was like, there's no way they're going to register this man ever again. I could not
Yeah,
see
but
any way that they could do it.
I think
it
the
seems
charges are
like
going to be dropped.
The
that's
charges may be
that's
dropped, but that video, that audio is still there. That was him.
yeah, but you
Yes.
know how it goes. Yeah, you know how it goes.
But should it
Yeah.
go like that? The man's a
No,
predator.
absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. It shouldn't go like that, but you know how it goes.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Man United, they're looking good, potentially getting a good young, a decent young player back in the
Yeah,
mix there, which
true.
will help him.
I
True.
don't think he's going to be the same player. I think him coming back, like having a whole nation against him, is going to destroy him. I don't think he's got the type of character that he's going to survive that. They're going to have to let him go at the end of the season or whatever because he's going to be a shell of himself, right? I think there's certain type of players that can play through controversy. They can rise up. They can do all sorts of things. And you see that by how they perform under pressure when it's just about football. I remember, like, and I mean, obviously, this is basketball we're talking about. I remember when Kobe was going through what he was going through in the legal system. That wasn't translating on the court. He was still playing like Kobe. And that was Kobe 24/7. I'm looking at Mason Greenwood. This came at the wrong time in his life. He spent a good half a year out of football. He's not going to come back the same player. That's my Stephen A prediction right there. He's not coming back the same player. I think Man United should have loaned him out. If I was Man United, I would have loaned him out to like RB Leipzig, brought in Andre Silva in the other way because you know that Werner and Konku connection is going to work out there. I would have done some math to let the kid go play out the country for a year or two, away from all the noise. He comes back when things have died down.
No,
They're not going to
but
boo him
when are
as
you
much.
From a
doing that?
legal perspective, he probably can't.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
Or as in,
Technically,
oh, because
technically, it
he was
was out
still
the door. Yeah, exactly. Which team is
as in.
gonna touch that at the end of the day? Yeah, no one was gonna
Well,
touch that. Look,
I mean, Adam
I
Johnson's
agree with
probably
you.
playing football out there right now, and he went to jail.
Look, I agree
Yeah,
with you. They
for
may be
Her
registering
Majesty's
him.
team.
Look, I agree with you. They may be registering him so that they can sell him. That's a very good valid point because maybe they might not be getting the same return. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It's a dirty game. This is how it
100%.
goes. Yeah,
100%.
this is how it goes.
Okay, guys, let's give ourselves 2 minutes just quickly. We'll just rip the band aid off. Liverpool Football Club. Injuries have hurt us badly.
Yeah,
We have struggled for form.
yeah.
Our last game in the Champions League against Ajax, we actually looked a whole lot better when Thiago was back in the mix, along with Jota. Hopefully, as more bodies come back, that'll get better. I'm hoping, well, Henderson's fit now. He's back playing for England. He was available for England. So hopefully he gets a few minutes under his belt and he comes back and he's able to lock down that right-hand side as well. I can see light at the end of the tunnel, finally. I just was bitterly disappointed with how we were performing. Our performances were kept a lot of the ball, but weren't doing much with it. It was painful to watch at times.
Yeah, our start was terrible. I think we've said all we've wanted to say, but in hindsight, looking at everything, at least there's like some light
At the
in
end
the
of the tunnel,
tunnel.
yeah,
Exactly. So I think
Chappy.
I think we did start poorly, and some of the things were not in our hands. Some of the things were, but look, I'm super hopeful. I'm one of those fans who are like, okay, we keep going. Okay, yeah, we failed. We keep going. That's me. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to be because it's the same team. You can't just rip the pages out and just say, okay, let's get a new team. You know, it is what it is.
yeah,
So when
100%. You
we,
can't.
yeah,
And
so,
Rue,
but
do not set me off.
I've,
Not
I've,
today.
I've set I've set myself a timer, two and a
okay, go
half
ahead.
minutes,
Go ahead.
and starting now. Hold on, man, this thing ain't going on. Look, I promise
Well,
you,
your
two
two
and a
and a
half
half
minutes.
minutes has started.
Okay. This season isn't our season. I think we should just work on keeping top four. We're not going to win anything. I'm solidly behind that.
What?
I don't think anything. Hey! I let y'all talk positive. I'm
Go
out here
ahead. Go ahead.
telling
Go
my
ahead. Go
pragmatism.
ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's like chemistry, the relationship. Like when you're talking with somebody and you're vibing, you can tell we're vibing. Even if things aren't, going to second, third base and whatever, you can tell that things are going well. I don't see that in Liverpool right now. I do not see any of the neutrons connecting. I don't see us on that level this season. There's a lot of talent there, and they could make it right at some point in the season to give us a top four berth. But outside of that, I don't think we're winning anything. I don't think we're in that conversation, and that's fine. If that's our target for the season's top four, let's keep it at that. Let's get everybody acclimated. Let's decide on how we want to play, and certain people need to start stepping up their game. I'm not going to drop any names, Trent, but we need to look at a real close look because I'm not seeing the things that made us special in this team anymore, and that's why I'm looking at the season and saying, look. I'm not expecting us to win anything. Like that's just the honest truth. I'm not expecting us to be in the conversation of winning anything, and that's okay. I've come to terms with that.
Okay.
Here's my
Oh,
Stephen A call. We will finish above Arsenal. There, I said it. Go ahead, Chappie.
I was just gonna say, 3 games
I
into the
I
season, 6 games into the season, won 2, drawn 3,
lost
lost
one.
1, and we
It's
have
not bad.
had injuries galore. If, for argument's sake, let's just be hyper positive and just sit there and think, okay, our injuries are done for the year. That's it. We've had our run. Like, we have not had our first choice players available. And that's a big thing. It's a massive thing. We're playing with our second choice, third choice players at times as well in the midfield. As I said, once Thiago came back into the mix, you saw the level of performances go up. That's what gives me hope. I'm not ready to write off the season.
Absolutely.
I have my reservations about Darwin Núñez, as you boys know. I think I don't.
Yeah, nah, he's
His
done.
touch for me,
He's just not good
just
enough.
those little basic things, they just don't. They worry me a little bit. I think there's a good player in there, and I just think he's playing scared. I think that price tag and the pressure and everything's telling on him. The boy needs to settle. He needs time to adjust. He doesn't speak the language. His wife doesn't speak the language. They've got a little kid, or is it 2 little kids, whatever they've got. Like, it's hard. Imagine trying to find a preschool for your kid that you don't even speak the language. Imagine, do they even have a home that they can live in at the moment? There's all these little things that would be impacting him. Imagine leaving training and going back to a hotel or an Airbnb. Well, there wouldn't be an Airbnbs, but I mean, like a rental that you don't really know. You don't know how to get around. Like, it'll be hard. And he's a young man. There's lots of pressure. Hopefully he comes good. What I wanted for him, like what Klopp has done to a lot of his signings, is to purchase the lad, and slowly integrate him into the team once he settles down. And unfortunately, Darwin hasn't had that. And yeah, I think some of it's mental. But anyway, that's all I have to say. This time, we've 6 games in, won 2, drawn 3, lost 1. This time.
Yeah.
One
Look.
more 2-minute topic, if you guys don't mind.
All right, go ahead.
Leicester City Football Club.
Well, that's where we're heading next. We're heading to the bottom 10 of the Premier League.
Yeah, Leicester City is the only one I'm interested in talking about there. Everybody else gets a pass. What do you guys think?
Brendan out.
Do you still have your old placards that from like 6 years ago? 8
Brenda.
years ago?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Brendan out.
We'll bring him out again, eh?
Yeah, dude. Who
Leicester,
keeps giving this guy a job, man? Like,
I
go ahead,
disagree with you
Chappie.
guys.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Chappie.
Go ahead, Chappie. Sorry.
All I was gonna say is that he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's been bugger-all investment into this playing group. He's been screaming out for new players for what, 2.5 seasons now, whatever it's been, where he's been saying we need something new. Jamie Vardy was still leading the line last season, majority of the time when he wasn't injured. And that's telling. Like, this is a guy who won them the title how many years ago? And he broke through as an older player. He should no longer be your main striker for a club that has any thoughts about finishing in the European places, which is where Leicester feel they should be. They sold some of their better players. They haven't replaced them. Guys like Tielemans aren't signing new contracts. It's a mess. And Brendan Rodgers sucks. And that's why I'll leave it.
All right. Again, I'll go on my 2-minute special. I think Brendan Rodgers is a good manager. I think he's worth a damn in this league, to be honest. I think he adds something. He's talented in my book.
Empty envelopes?
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, there's plenty there we can have a go at him for. To be honest, there's plenty there, and to be honest, I don't think he should really be complaining too much about the season. I mean, I'll go pro and con here, and let's start off with the con. They lost 2 top players this transfer window. Only Wesley Fofana, Casper Schmeichel. That Socek, what's his name? That central defender. I think he was the last to go, the Turkish one. But I'm pretty sure that they had enough resources with Johnny Evans and co to replace them fellas, or should have had that in the works. And if not, loans galore, right? So I don't think that's a good enough reason. Yes, he could have used 1 or 2 players as investment to come through. But they got Patson Daka last season, right? Like the whole Jamie Vardy thing, like I put that on him. Like they got Patson Daka last season. They got so many players, Vestergaard, Ryan Bertrand. They brought in a fair few talented players last season and got rid of some deadwood and the season before and all that sort of stuff. So in my opinion, he needs to be a bit honest with himself, go back to the drawing board and see what he needs to fix, because his team isn't half decent. If his team is being limited, it's because of his limitations as a coach. But I still think he's good enough to coach them out of that problem. The problem is he's stuck in whatever vacuum or black hole or football management going on in his head that you see that precedes a coach getting fired. And that's the problem. I think he's still got something that he can still go with, man. Like he's still got like Harvey Barnes, he's still got Madison on there, he's still got Ndaka in there, he's got that Ayozi Perez in there, Tielemans is there. They've still got plenty of talent in that team. He just needs to do something about it. Maybe using some of that 80 mil in January to get like one guy to turn things around would be it. But there's still talent there, man.
They're not spending the money. They literally do not have money. They're not spending any.
Yeah, which I still think is okay. They could have loaned. They could have gone to those Chelsea loan kids and added one or two bodies. I don't think he's got a small squad. He's got to change the way he's playing because it's
But it's not
now
about the size
predictable,
of the squad. It's about the quality, and he's saying the quality is not there. He's
which
been
I
saying
disagree
that.
with. Which I
But the
think,
proof is in the
yeah.
pudding. Like the last on the table with 1 point.
And we don't think that's partly because he's using the wrong strategy for this compilation of players.
He's been hamstrung with
Yeah,
players have said they don't want to play.
I think he's just a bad coach, guys. I mean, we can go around and name how many players he's got and what
He's
quality.
got he's
Look,
got
Leicester,
players.
he definitely does. I agree with you. Leicester should not
He's
be at the bottom of
they
the
shouldn't
table.
be.
It's just that Brendan Rodgers is not a good coach.
And maybe
Is,
that's the issue. Maybe
yeah,
he's
that is
stuck
the
in his head
issue.
and he's not coaching them out of the problem. He wanted to buy himself out of the problem. Look at it this way, Chappie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vardy, Patson Daka, Iheanacho, Ayoze Perez, Madison, Barnes, all Brighton. These guys have been good enough for them for the last 3 or 4 seasons. There's no reasons. I didn't even put in Tielemans or Dewsbury Hall, who've been performing, or Ndidi and stuff like. There's there's players there. Bertrand's a player. You know what I mean? Vestergaard is average, but he's still a Premier League player. Sionchu's been injured. That's okay. Maybe it's a bit uncertain at the goalkeeper because they got a new guy in there. But like, they're definitely not worth six losses and a draw. Like he should have coached them out of that problem. And the problem
Okay,
we
but
had with him at Liverpool was in games where he should have been pragmatic, he didn't chill out. He just kept on, and then we got screwed for it. Brendan does not have a bad squad. He's got a bad mindset, and he needs to get out of that because he's good enough to coach them out of the problem. He needs to go back to grassroots. That's it.
okay,
I'll do
but
you one
on one
better. I
hand, you're
don't.
saying
I know.
Go ahead, Chappie. Go ahead, Chappie.
you
I am
can't
a
sit
bit
there and
confused
say
about this one.
you're saying he's a good manager, but he's not managing the team well, so he's not a good manager.
Thank you.
I know.
That's what I was
He's
about to. You
failed.
took the words out of my mouth.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is he's a talented manager who should be talented enough to coach them out of the problem. But for some reason,
Why do we think he's talented? I think we lost the man.
Yeah, I think we lost Rue there.
sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
look.
I got too excited. Apologies. No,
what
I
Look,
agree with what you guys are saying. He's not doing his job right now, but he's capable of doing better than what he's doing, if that makes
but
sense.
what's the basis of that
is he
opinion?
though? It's my point
What's the
exactly,
basis of that
Chappie.
opinion?
Is
I
he
He was at
though?
think
Swansea, a club with no real expectations. He got him into the Premier League. There's a million managers out, not a million, but there's so many managers out there who get teams into the Premier League and they survive a couple of seasons and then things go to shit and they go down. He came to
And just
Liverpool.
to add on, to what you're saying, Chappie, is like if you look at the teams that he takes over, he always takes over good squads, and then when he's there, there's a decline. You know what I mean?
A
And
massive
it's
decline.
yeah, like Swansea, Liverpool. I don't know about Celtic, but Leicester,
Well,
Leicester
he
was a
bailed on Celtic when Gerrard was starting to come through at Rangers. Gerrard went through and won, like didn't lose a game. Weren't they invincible?
there was, but I
Like,
know the invincible season was when he was already in Leicester. But you're right, he
yeah,
left
I'm just saying that
Celtic
you could
when
see
he
the
saw the writing on the
progress of
wall.
Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but no, the point here though is that okay, so with us, we all sit there and say, yeah, we sold Suarez, we sold our best player. That doesn't mean that you finished the season where we finished it when we lost the league by what, a point or 2 points. That was poor management on his part. We lost the league because he wasn't pragmatic against Chelsea. There was no need for us to go out there and try hammer him. Like a draw would have sufficed and given us a fighting chance. The loss is the worst thing that could have happened to us. I just don't. I don't think he's all that chop. There's so many things that go against him. He's probably a mid-table manager,
Yes, he's a mid-table manager. I agree.
and
He is
we
a mid-table.
expect him to take a team like Swansea, who are probably tired of his voice now, and push him on. He needed the investment to refresh the squad and get new players in. That didn't happen, and he's been shown up for his deficiencies. I just don't think there's a good manager there. I'm sorry.
No, that's a fair argument. Yeah, no, everything you guys are saying is correct about his limitations. I just felt like he's talented enough to get his team to 15, to 12, to 11, right? He's led them to a Europa League spot before in his first full season at Leicester. I think the capabilities are there. I think maybe these guys going to Premier League clubs, and when people are splashing cash, they stop coaching the players and start looking for players they don't need to coach. And maybe that's where the limitation comes. Because if you look at Graham Potter coached the players to play away. Then he goes to Chelsea. Now he's got to find a way to get players who are used to playing a certain way to buy into his philosophy. And maybe that's the problem with Brendan Rodgers. He stopped trying to coach the players to play a certain way and started trying to buy players who already played that way because you don't have to coach them. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Like, I see what
For
you guys
me,
are saying.
the final thing I'll say on Rodgers is that for me, it's telling that he left Liverpool. His reputation was fairly damaged at that point in time after what happened there. He went to Celtic, rebuilt his reputation, came back into the Premier League at Leicester, and boosted his reputation again with their Europa League finish and all that other stuff. But they were kind of choking at the tail end of each season, dropping out of the top four. Anyway, whatever. I think it's very telling that no matter what was happening in the league, there was never any talk of him moving on again to a bigger job elsewhere. Um,
And
Aston
United.
Villa, apparently Aston Villa spoke to him. Aston Villa is a massive club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nottingham Forest, one of the biggest clubs in England again. There's never any talk about him taking over for another big team. You're trying to tell me he wouldn't have gone to Newcastle if they had really been interested in it
No, that's true. Did you hear
with
the
the
one
money they
where?
have there?
So there are two clubs that were in the conversation. Apparently, Chelsea were interested because of his history with Chelsea. That didn't come of anything. It's probably lies. Apparently, Man United were legit interested, but old players that used to be with the club, they got in touch with the club and said 86 there. So
Yeah. Like to me,
yeah,
it's telling that he just
yeah,
hasn't pushed on, and now he's
yeah,
sitting there complaining about investment again into another.
yeah, yeah.
Like I can't. I do see they haven't invested, but if you guys are saying his team is quality enough to finish comfortably,
At 12,
he should be there, but he's not.
yeah.
He's not.
He's got a
So
good squad. He
He's
definitely
got
has a
a
good
team that
squad.
should be
Yeah.
should be sitting at 12, 13 easily.
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah, my
anyway.
shocker of the season after 7 games has to be West Ham. I don't understand why they're there. That's just what is going on.
I'm not even thinking. I'm thinking that's
I
a
tipped them
glitch,
for a
and they're
high.
gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
I
I'm
tipped
I'm
them
I
for
don't
I'm
a
think
thinking
high
it's a
about that
finish,
glitch.
but
push.
I don't think it's a glitch.
I
Declan Rice
guess
is
I
the
was
best
wrong.
player.
I guess I was
Declan
wrong.
Rice is the best player, and he's not a good footballer. To me,
It's
that
very
says a lot.
interesting.
So if Declan Rice is available and Liverpool were interested, you'd be like calling saying don't do it.
Veto that. I would not be signing Declan Rice. I wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. I
Think
don't
about it
have.
like this: even Man City went and got Calvin Phillips, sorry, as opposed to Declan Rice.
But I thought that was more because West Ham had slapped like £100 million price tag on him, and that pushed everyone else away because no one feels that he's worth that much.
Jack Grealish wasn't worth 100 million. They signed him.
But he was closer than Declan Rice.
I'm
He was
just
closer
saying,
than
like to
Declan
me,
Rice.
if
Wait,
City wanted
how
him,
much did City pay for for Jack Grealish?
100 million. That was his release clause. I think 100 million.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jesus.
See what I mean? Like if they wanted him, they would get him. If they did not want him, they did not go get him.
I don't think he's the type of player for type of defensive midfielder for Pep Guardiola.
All I'm saying is I don't think he's their best player, and I don't think he's all that sharp. That's just my thoughts on him.
I,
But that's a
I
fair
agree
call.
with you. He's overrated. I agree with you 110%. He's overrated.
Yeah. But that's a fair call.
I
That's
think
a shocker there. It is
I
a
think
shocker.
Mikel Antonio is their best player.
Yeah, fair. I can live with
Whoa,
that.
that's a huge shout.
I think
He
I
just
do
gets
think he
injured.
is. He
He gets injured.
if he's not injured, like he I feel like England. I think he needs to talk to his ancestors or something to just deal with his injury issues. Because when that boy is fit, he's aggressive and he's. From what I understand, what makes him so special is he didn't go through academies. He went through the different tiers of English football. So he doesn't have an academy style play to him. He has a footballer thing that makes it hard to defend because it's not one of those telltale things. Mikel Antonio. I really like Mikel Antonio. I hope he stays fit. And I actually think if Spurs sold Old Mate, that he'd be perfect for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I really do get what you're saying. It's I don't know why West Ham is down. To be honest, they've got good players, man. Yeah, they got good players. I mean, they just put Samaka in. You know, I mean, he should be doing something decent, right? Didn't he play
should.
well for? Didn't he play well for Italy? He did, right?
He came off the bench, and he did some. I think, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to change too much over there at the Hammers. I don't know.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Ugh.
But anyway. So I think that wraps us up for the day today, boys. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think we've done our time.
Yeah. But I suppose the final tidbit for today, Brendan Rodgers sucks.
I have to wear it. I have to accept it. I have to accept what you guys are saying. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, he should be good enough to get them out of this problem, and he's not. So that's on him.
All right. Well, thank you very much, lads. We shall catch up before the next round of the Premier League kicks off. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you very much, lads. I shall catch you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.